بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين. Allah Tabarak Ta'ala tells us in Surah Al-An'am chapter 6 in verse 140 بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قد خسر الذين قتلوا أولادهم سفها بغير علم وحرموا ما رزقهم الله افتراء على الله قد ضلوا وما كانوا مهتدين. They will have lost who killed their children in foolishness without knowledge and prohibited what Allah had provided for them, inventing untruth about Allah. They have gone astray and they were not rightly guided. قد خسر. قد is used for the certainty of the event. It's truly a loss for the ones who kill their children. Out of foolishness, because they don't appreciate what Allah has provided to them. The children are a gift from Allah. And what the Arabs used to do before Islam, if they have a boy, they would keep him. If they had a female baby, they would either kill it right as it was delivered, they throw it, bury it alive, or wait a few years and bury them alive. Out of ignorance of all the goodness, not appreciating what Allah has given them. So nowadays, people are demanding the right to abort their babies up to the time of delivery. I mean, it's just baffling that, the same playbook from the devil happens all over. You can't say 1,500 years ago they didn't know. They're repeating the same mistakes now. Killing children is a big loss. A child is an extension of the parents. If you think about it, in Islam, we take care of our children because we grow them, because we know that they're an extension of our presence. If they are good, then their deeds, come back to us. So get married and have children, but raise them to be righteous, so the good deeds will be added to yours, and everyone from their descendants, everything comes back. And if your father did a good job with you, your good deeds and your children's good deeds, they get a share of it. So raising a righteous child, male or female, is one of the greatest rewards that keeps on giving. If you want to talk about sadaqah jariyah, that's even better than sadaqah jariyah. It just keeps on giving and giving. And the verse we read in the third rak'ah in Surah At-Tur, chapter 52 and beginning of verse 21. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَاتَّبَعَتْهُمْ ذُرِّيَّتُهُمْ بِإِيمَانٍ أَلْحَقْنَا بِهِمْ ذُرِّيَّتَهُمْ وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And those who believed and whose descendants followed them in faith, we will join with them their descendants, and we will not deprive them of anything of their deeds. So you can understand from the verse that either the children will join their parents in paradise if they were good, if they followed in excellence, in faith, they will be joined with their parents in heaven. But another explanation of the verse is their deeds will also be joining the parent. The deeds of righteous children will get added to the deeds of the righteous parent. وَمَا أَلَتْنَاهُمْ مِنْ عَمَلِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Nothing will be reduced from there. You get a copy of it. They are not shortchanged. And that's from the mercy and fadl of Allah, that, the ones that are doing the good deed, they don't lose any of it. But the people who were the reason for them to do it, they get an equal share of it. But one thing we have to be cognizant of. If you have a parent that had a child, and the child wanted to become a scholar, and the father said, "No, you cannot be a scholar. I want you to be a doctor. I don't approve of you going to Sharia school," or something to that effect. If that child becomes a scholar, the father gets nothing. The father has to be the reason, the support behind his children being righteous. When you raise them specifically to be righteous, then when they are righteous, you get a copy of their deeds. But if you're, fighting them every single step of the way, no matter how good they are, you get nothing. So we have to make sure that, that we are good and we raise our children, on the faith. So raising a good righteous child may have been easy 100 years ago or more. Today it's even in this country, it's even harder. It is very difficult to preserve our children. It takes a lot of effort. You can't just, take your eyes off of them for a second. Between social media, the TV, internet, nudity everywhere, vice, the whole norms of the society are turned upside down. And, the TV, between the TV and the internet, they expose children to violence, to promiscuity. Those venues produce children that are focused on desires. They don't care about morals. They don't care about the process. They just want the outcome. And they are aggressive. So that's what, if you let the TV raise your child, don't blame the child. You caused it. You killed that child. So the values of the society have been turned upside down. Chastity, and modesty are ridiculed. Oh, you're covered up. They'll make fun of them. Nudity is elevated to fashion. They call it sophistication. What's wrong with you? It's like, you ask them, how could you wear a bikini to the beach, but you don't do that on the street? What's this mentality that it's okay here, but not okay here? It's the whole norms are turned upside down. Deceiving people in business sometimes is considered as, man, he's good. He knows how to get the wealth. You're deceiving people. I mean, the norms are turned upside down. Movies, if you notice, movies and commercials depict parents as stupid, and the children are the smart, mouthy ones. It's all done intentionally. It's not to be funny. They're intentionally doing this to corrupt the society. So, let's not forget, bring your kid to drag queen hour. That's something new that, if you don't, what's wrong with you? Are you a racist? Yes, I am a racist. Thank you very much. So raising a good child nowadays is much harder because temptations and evil are widespread. So our iman, 100 years ago, you could have the basics and you'd squeak by. These days, your level of iman has to be much higher to fend off all of the evil that's coming your way. And killing, in the verse, it says, don't kill your children. قَدْ خَسِرَ الَّذِينَ قَتَلُوا أَوْلَادَهُم. Killing is taking a life, but in the wider sense, there's another meaning to it. If you corrupt that child and don't raise them on faith, it's worse than killing. In Surah Al-Baqarah, وَالْفِتْنَةُ أَشَدُّ مِنَ الْقَتْلِ. Fitna is worse than killing. When you let the child go in and do whatever they want, not care about wrong or right, not paying attention to what they're learning in school, how they're behaving, who their friends are. If you don't do that, effectively, you're worse than killing them. So, let's not look at the verse and say, oh, that doesn't apply to us. That's something they did 1,500 years ago. It's, when Allah mentions it in the Quran, it's for all times and all ages. It repeats in different forms. So we have to make sure that we take care of our children. We don't let the glitters of this life pulls them away from faith. We cannot let them do whatever they want. We have to inspect everything that they're doing. So children are the future of the ummah. If we lose our children, there's no point in building masajid and building schools. Nobody's going to be in it. Look at the churches. This church and other churches, they're dying out. They're selling. They get older and older. The young people are not interested. They're turning into atheism. They're just not connected, to the faith anymore. And the community gets smaller and smaller, and then eventually they close the church and sell it. We don't want our masajid to be the same way. We want to take care of our children and raise them on faith. What schools are doing now, they're doing sports Sunday morning, so people don't go to church. Your kids don't go to church. I mean, it's all by design. It's, the separation of church and state. It's all by design. They want to take the kids and they want to indoctrinate them in schools to get them away from the faith. And we cannot do that. We as parents, we have to be, eagle-eyed over our children. So we have to stay vigilant. We have to inspect. We have to correct. We have to make sure that they're attached to Quran and Sunnah. Their creed aqidah is correct. Their manners are correct. To make sure that faith and prayers are the most important thing, not sports and social media and whatever it is. We have to get our priorities straight. And we have to protect them from the evils of society at any cost. And we have to forget about timeout. The timeout doesn't work. That timeout, some idiot in school came up with this. No, discipline. When they deserve to be disciplined, you have to discipline them. They will appreciate it when they get older. I am the man I am today because my mother's flying slipper. When I deserved it, they did not say, "Oh, Hussam, go time out." And then you see what kind of kids you have. You have to discipline, but you have to be fair. You have to discipline and make sure that it's like a plant. When you plant and the plant is going crooked, you put a stick, you tie it up. But once it gets started, it gets started. Children are the same way. If you don't take care of them between ages 1 and 10, don't try to correct them when they're teenagers. You've lost them. It starts from day one. Day one is when you start, not in 10 years old. So a good child is the best investment that we as parents would have. And for the young people who are not married yet, your first duty is to find the fertile soil for your future children, which is a righteous wife. Don't look for looks. Don't look for wealth. Don't look for family. Look for the faith. What is the faith like? What is the manners? Everything else, they may have it, but the priority number one has to be a fertile soil, because you know what happens when you get a bad soil, nothing grows in it. But we have to focus on it. So a good child is the best investment because it's the gift that keeps on giving. You raise righteous children, they raise their children righteous, and all of these deeds keep coming up to the parents and the people who guided them to that. So, and remember that no matter what you have in this life, you will never be happy in this life if your children go astray. It doesn't matter what you have, how much money, what kind of car, what kind of home, what kind of life you're living. If your children are not on your footsteps in faith and righteous and good children, you will never be happy in this life. Nothing will ever make you happy. So we have to focus on our children and make sure that we make Quran, Sunnah, faith, creed as priority number one, and manners. Everything else will follow through. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum.